My mother-in-law thought she won after destroying my marriage in just a week, but in 1 month, karma hit back hard. Her own son exposed her darkest secrets. Ruined her reputation. I, female 25, recently divorced my partner of 3 years, J, male 24. However, neither of us fell out of love, and the divorce was mostly caused by family pressure, especially from my mother-in-law. SJ and I came from different racial backgrounds, and that wasn't accepted by F, so she was the matriarch of the family. Literally everybody listened to her or had to listen to her no matter what. When found out about our relationship, she didn't out and out forbid J from dating me. She's too PC for that, but she made a lot of passive-aggressive comments, constantly undermined our love, and frequently told Jay in private that I wasn't good enough for him. The most annoying part about this is that S believes that she's cool with people and open-minded, but her version of open-mindedness is like making posts on social media and calling out vehement racists. However, she has internalized certain prejudices, and they bleed through in the way she speaks to me or how she talks to Jay about me. It was tough. Both of us wanted to persevere through this, and in 2022, Jay proposed to me. It was one of the happiest moments of my life, and I said yes. Naturally, S didn't take it too well. It was already bad enough when we were dating, but now she might have to have a daughter-in-law from a completely different race and culture. Yet again, none of this ever came out of the woodwork directly, but manifested itself in different ways. First, she said that she and her husband won't be able to chip in for the wedding, despite my father-in-law to be asking us about venues and helping us budget a week before she said this. But nobody goes against us, and I guess she had decided that chipping in for the wedding would be an unnecessary expense, so her husband had to agree too. Whatever. We never needed her money. Jay's father had offered until S made him take it back, in my opinion. Next, she made up excuses to not come to the wedding if it would be in the locality where I grew up. I wonder why. Then, she made a lot of comments about whether or not I'll have a lot of guests over from my side of the family. Despite knowing full well that I'm estranged from my family, Jay was also dealing with a lot of emotional manipulation and guilt-tripping during this time. Interracial couples already have it bad, and S was adding fuel to the fire, along with the societal pressure that was on us. People may be PC now, but there's just something different about the way people interact with this. You could imagine how exhausting S was, and we even considered going no contact with her, but because of the grip she had on the whole family. Jay was a little hesitant on inviting her, and going no contact also meant that his cousins, uncles, and other extended family would be unlikely to show up because of the stink S would make. After we got engaged, Jay and I had a strained relationship, primarily due to his mother's behavior. We were still in love with each other, but at moments, it just felt like too much to handle. The wedding was fast approaching, and Jay and I kind of silently agreed and hoped that once we were married and S realized that she couldn't break us down, we could go back to normal. Because when we didn't, we saw the problems she created looming over us. Our relationship was one of honesty, trust, and respect. Eventually, we got to D-Day, and I was excitedly waiting to walk down the aisle and start my life with Jay. A really cute element of our wedding was that we had organized a stack of recycled vinyl records into a huge showpiece sculpture in the main hall. Both Jay and I were really into music and sculpture, and it was actually how we had started talking at first. We'd both gone to a museum exhibition. It was massive, like 9 feet tall, and it cost me and Jay thousands of dollars for the commission. But it was the showstopper element of our wedding, and both of us loved how it had turned out. It was in the main reception just before the hall where the ceremony was taking place. However, as I was walking down the aisle with my bestie there to give me away, I heard a massive crash behind me. The whole ceremony came to a stop, and everyone went out to see what had happened. The vinyl sculpture had fallen and shattered into 100 pieces, and my mother-in-law was there with a mimosa in her hand, claiming she had leaned on it a little too hard. She dared to say that we should have fixed it better, and I was in tears by now. We had a rushed ceremony, and I couldn't even enjoy the reception, my first dance, nothing. Mother-in-law and her antics had taken over the conversation, and the whole wedding was ruined. I think this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I realized that S was so narcissistic and entitled that we would never be able to enjoy life together. I agonized over it for a week, but my mind was made up. I told Jay my reasoning and served him papers. He was heartbroken, but also didn't try to hold me back. It made sense, and he didn't want to see me unhappy. And, would you believe it? Mother-in-law called me after she found out the news. She asked me if there was anything she could do to help, but I could sense the victory in her voice. She had won and was gloating by calling and hearing me be miserable. Since I was cutting all ties, I should probably have given her a piece of my mind, but I just said yes, long until she cut the call. On the day I moved out, Jay hugged me and said, "I respect your decision, OP. I can't say I would have done anything differently, but if I ever get the chance, I'll win you back." It was tough to say goodbye. A month after this, I was in my apartment and trying to get my life back on track when I got a text from Jay. Surprised, I opened it to see the link to a Google Drive, and it was filled with a bunch of chats showing S making extremely problematic comments and jokes. Jay then explained that he'd gotten these from family group chats and through relatives who, while too scared to confront S directly, were more than willing to help Jay call her out. This wasn't even the end of it, though, because he told me that S was a struggling kleptomaniac, which was an open secret in the family. However, as his friends and social circle weren't aware of this, and he intended to gossip about this with them too. The thing is, the circles S runs in are like hungry sharks, so even if Jay mentions one tidbit about it, the rumors will get so far out of hand that S will also be considered an outcast. With how conscious of appearances S is, I knew having these chats and gossip would ruin her image. As I said, her whole identity was that of a savior and an educated, down-with-it person. Jay asked me if I would give him another shot if he leaked the chats and told everyone about his mother's dirty secret. I fought it over and said yes. Naturally, all hell broke loose. Jay made a long post talking about his experience with a crazy helicopter parent, posted all the evidence, and then told his family that he's going no contact with his mother and doesn't care if they talk to him or not. He started like a whole damn revolution in the family, though, because a lot of people wanted to cut S out of their lives. It just took one person with the guts to do it for the floodgates to open. I went over to Jay's place and we spoke about our future, and it's clear the feelings are still there. But some part of me feels guilty for ruining a person's life like this. Even worse, I researched more about kleptomania, and it's a legitimate disorder. I feel really bad about the fact that we used it as a chip against S, and that's very icky in and of itself. It's not how I was raised. AITA? Update 1. It's been a few weeks since the post went out, and S has freaked out big time. She managed to sleuth out from her relatives that Jay was back with me and had a suspicion I was behind the call-out. She had called me acting all sweet and nice and trying to probe out our relationship. She also made herself out to be the victim of Jay's actions and said that she had lost all of her friends. I didn't want to confirm her suspicions, but the way she was talking and her constant superiority complex even after this just made me want to rub it in her face. As the call was winding down, I casually said, "Hey, by the way, Jay isn't bullying you and he's not a problem child. He literally did all of this to win me back, so enjoy your new life where everyone knows what a you are," and hung up. Then I made sure she couldn't contact me again. I told Jay about what I had done, and he laughed about it, saying she deserved much worse than that. Update 2. Jay and I have picked up basically where we left off, and both of us really want to get married. Without S in the way, this relationship has no problems, and we're thinking of a small courthouse wedding in a week. Only close friends will be invited, although Jay has told me that some of his family members want to come after giving the metaphorical bird to his mom. I'm okay with this, and we are hoping that it goes smoothly the second time around. Thankfully, S never tried to contact me after that phone call. Update 3. Okay, it didn't go smoothly the second time around, LOL, but this time it was a lot better. Basically, during our reception at a small venue nearby, there was a commotion outside, and we went to see S being held back by security. Someone must have told her about the venue, and she had come there to have it out with us. Thankfully, she came a little too late to spoil anything, and it was honestly funny to see her being carried off by security. Some people even recorded it, and Jay and I let her know through his relatives that if she ever tries anything like that again, we'll post the videos online too. But enough about that woman. I just want to thank you guys for your helpful comments, and Jay and I both appreciate the support you've given. NTA, and it's admirable that you weren't raised that way. Or P, but like this woman deserves it. NTA, and you've got yourself a good man in Jay. It does take guts to stand up to such an oppressive parental figure. Yeah, I do think the kleptomania thing was a bit out of pocket, but like, in the grand scheme of things, she needed a reality check like that. Next story. Every year I make hats and scarves for people I love or for homeless people. What I do is I give up iced Starbucks for me a few months before it gets cold, save up money, and buy yarn. I make the hats and give them away for free. A friend of mine asked for some hats and scarves for a couple of friends as gifts, and I gave her 10 rainbow hats and scarves. I found out she sold them all for $20 a pop. The only reason how I found out is because I saw someone with it on and her building, and I commented on how it looked good. Oh, XYZ makes these, and they are very affordable. I'm going to get some more for my family. I'm not mad she sold them, and I know I can't be mad when it's no longer in my possession, but I think I'm more hurt than anything, especially since I save up, and I just give them out of the kindness of my heart. She asked if I had any more, and I told her that I dropped the remaining off at a local church. It's true. She then asked if I could make a blanket for her daughter, and I told her no. She asked why, and I told her the reason is because she lied to me and was selling something that I didn't intend to sell. She went on about how she needed the money, and since I wasn't selling them and didn't really want them, she could sell them. And I'm an a-hole for not making the blanket because we have been friends forever. I don't think I'm an a-hole but wanted an outside opinion. Am I being dramatic? No hate, please. Just some added things that keep coming up. 1. If she would have told me she wanted to sell some because she needed the money, I would have given it to her to sell or given her some cash. 2. I didn't post it for attention. I didn't want to talk to my partner or family members about it because it would have gone into a thing of, you're too nice, why would you do that, etc. Just wanted an outside opinion. 3. Thanks for the offers privately. I don't do it to get money or anything. Honestly, if you drink Starbucks, have a nice coffee with sweet cream in my name, it's Lee. Or buy a hat you can afford and give it to someone in need. 4. I don't sell stuff because I'm overly critical, and I wouldn't enjoy doing it. That's why I just try to set time aside when I have time to enjoy doing it. If I accepted donations or anything like that and mess up, I would feel horrid. That's why I do it the way I do. I won't feel bad for wasting someone's money because it's my money to waste. Again, I appreciate the offer. NTA. Your friend is both duplicitous and not using much of her old noggin there. It doesn't exactly take a rocket scientist to know that if you're going to run a scam-adjacent grift like this, you don't sell the items locally. I think they teach that in Chicanery 101. In other words, there's no upside to continuing this friendship. She's morally gray at absolute best, and she's got room temperature IQ to boot. Nothing but pain ahead. Consider her dumped. NTA. She lied to you and used you. She didn't tell you that she was going to sell your work and misled you into believing that you were making them for family and friends. The kicker is that she received a 100% free item and was able to keep 100% of the profits from selling it. And when you saw someone in it, she had the nerve to lie and not even tell the unsuspecting person that you made it. That's the part that burns my soul. She has every intention of lying to you and using you again. Here you are, foregoing Starbucks and saving up your own personal funds to give to those less fortunate, and she couldn't even say, hey, let me give you some money towards your materials or donate to your cause. Straight ripped you off and tried to emotionally manipulate you by saying you didn't really want them when she made a personal request to give them as gifts, and then trying again to manipulate you by asking you to make a blanket for her baby, which she'd probably sell to and lie about it. I'd seriously consider keeping that friendship to a minimum, and kudos to you for using your talents to help those less fortunate. Next story. Yesterday was my niece's first birthday, and originally the plan for the cake was for my father-in-law to buy a store-bought cake. When my father-in-law mentioned he was buying a store-bought cake for the party, I asked if I could bake the birthday cake and smash cake. Instead, my father-in-law was thrilled at the idea and requested that it be a surprise to my sister and brother-in-law. I saw no issue and agreed. Over the past week, I have spent countless hours on this cake. Going in, I have very high expectations for the cake, and although I did not meet those high expectations, I'm still happy with the cake and 100% believe it is better than the store-bought cake. Yesterday at the party, when it was time to bring out the cake, my father-in-law took the cake out of its hiding spot and brought it into the main area of the party. When my brother-in-law saw the cake, he had a big smile and seemed really happy. However, when my sister-in-law saw the cake, she looked mortified. Quickly, my sister-in-law threw on a fake smile and asked my father-in-law about the cake. Probably, my father-in-law announced that I was the one who made the cake. My sister-in-law gritted her teeth the entire time we sang Happy Birthday and refused to even try the cake for the whole party. After I left, I was bombarded with messages from my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. The messages were everything from, I intentionally sabotaged her daughter's first birthday party, to, because of me. All the photos of her daughter's first birthday are ruined by the stain of my trashy cake. I didn't know what to say, so I just screenshotted all of the texts and sent them to my husband, who's currently overseas for the military. After I did that, everything was just blown up. It feels like brother against brother. Meanwhile, my parents-in-law are just trying to play both sides. Every Saturday, we usually do a family day. Usually, we all eat a bunch of good food and do some kind of activity together, but this morning, my father-in-law asked me to sit out of this week's family day out. And I'm crushed. Honestly, I was just trying to be nice and make my niece's birthday even more memorable. I was not trying to take the day away from her, but it feels like everyone's against me, and I think I might be the ass. Edit. My profile picture is the cake, and the theme of the party was cowboys in Texas. That's why there is the Texas Longhorn and sheriff's badge. I'm going to say, YTA. You know you have a rocky relationship with sister-in-law. You never should have agreed to the surprise cake. The cake is beautiful and in no way tacky, but I'm guessing sister-in-law feels like this was an attention grab on your part. Now everyone at the party is commenting on the awesome cake that you just happened to whip up. A store-bought cake wouldn't have upstaged the party, and while it obviously wasn't your intent, I'm sure it did basically ruin her daughter's party for her, and when she thinks back on it, this will always stand out. I'd say father-in-law is also an maybe just a clueless one, but you never should have gone along with it. They really should be grateful that you went out of the way to plan and make the cake. Also, F your father-in-law for going along with the idea for you to bake the cake, and they're not backing you up. After your in-laws threw a fit at the party, then father-in-law has the nerve to disinvite you from family day. It seems like there is some deeper grudge being held here over something. NTA.